Hello everyone, this is Chief, also known as the Short Brother. First things first, I am known as the Short Brother because my other brothers are significantly taller than me, not because I am myself short. That point set aside, today this guide is going to discuss Death Knights, specifically Frost Death Knight, the talents, the rotations, and how to play them in M+ and raids generally. First of all, Death Knights are a unique class because of their unique abilities such as Death Grip and the Control Undead ability. They are generally an immobile class. That's their weak spot. They can't handle moving around fast enough. To jump into the Frost spec right now, the general abilities of the Frost spec, first of all, is the Obliterate. Obliterate is one of the core levels to gather your resources, which would be your runic power. Obliterate will cost you 2 runes. You will have generally 6 runes that will generate at a rate of 3 at a time. A general overview of the levels: you will have Obliterate, Howling Blast, which is a ranged attack which deals a decent amount of damage and casts a dot on the player, on the opponent, and will cost only 1 rune. Frost Strike, it's a decent attack which will cost you 25 runic power. Remorseless Winter, your AoE level, your Death Grip of course, and your specific cooldown, which will be the Pillar of Frost ability. Well, Pillar of Frost, first when you activate it, you will gain an increase in your primary stat, which is strength, by 15%, and every time you spend 1 rune, you will gain an extra 1% on that buff. So while having the Pillar of Frost on, you must make sure that you spend as much runes as possible so that you would gain as much more strength percentage as possible. Now jumping to the talents before the rotations. In the first row, picking Cold Heart is generally the most useful talent to take. What Cold Heart does, that it gives your Chains of Ice, this Chains of Ice, which slows the target. It gives it every 2 seconds, Chains of Ice will gain 1 stack, which will rack up into maximum of 20 stacks. This will deal damage according to what level, eye level, and what your strength, mastery, your stat set. But it will deal generally huge amounts of damage once it hits 20 stacks. Another, on the second row, I would advise taking Runic Attenuation, where your auto attacks will have a chance to generate 3 runic power, and since runic power is your main resource in order to deal more and more damage, the more runic power you generate, the more damage you will deal. In the third row, they are situational items. Death Reach, where every time you kill an opponent, your death grip will reset, and it will increase your death grip range by 10 yards. Asphyxiate, which is a single target stun, has a generally long cooldown, but is useful in some situations. And Blinding Sleet, which is well, an AoE blind, which blinds every target in front of you in a cone for 5 seconds. And damage might break the blindness, so you can consider it as the blinding light of the paladin. On row number 3, we have the AoE spells mostly. If you're playing against single targets or raids in general, I would advise taking Frozen Pulse, which, while you have fewer than 3 full runes, your auto attacks radiate intense cold, inflicting frost damage on all nearby enemies. This is a decent talent, especially in raids, because you will almost always have less than 3 runes on, so you will always generate that extra damage on the boss. But in M+, though Frozen Pulse is still good in M+, but Frost Scythe is the way to go in Mythic+, because you are going to need as much AoE damage on the adds as possible. Of course, it depends on the affixes, Tyrannical or Fortified, but generally Frost Scythe is the way to go. The way it works is it sweeps the targets in front of you for a certain amount of damage, and if your ability procs, it will deal 4 times the normal damage. That ability would be the Killing Machine passive. The Killing Machine passive is just that your next Obliteration strike will have a chance to will 100% critical strike the next attack when it procs. But if you have Frost Scythe on, then the next killing machine you can use Frost Scythe, and Frost Scythe will deal 4 times the extra damage, which will in time mean more damage, better damage. In the fifth row, there's well, they are in general the utility packet. I usually go with the Wraithwalk because, as I said before, Death Knights are an immobile class, and Wraithwalk make us a bit more mobile, helps us a bit with our mobility, especially with dodging some mechanics and so on. It could be really handful. And Death Pact, you can take Death Pact if you are sure that your healer is going to heal you, because Death Knight will you will heal for 50% of your max health, but the next healing you get will be absorbed for 30% of your max health. So you can take this ability if you're knowing that you are going to take a massive hit in this attack, and you know that your healer can up you after you use this level. But I would always take Wraithwalk no matter what. Now on the level 90 talents, Frostworm's Fury sure has proven one of the best talents to go with, since it will deal in a straight line in front of you. A dragon will pop up and deal damage, immense damage, like 30k right now, to everyone in front of you for 40 yards, and it will slow the enemies for 50% for 10 seconds. This ability is really powerful, and it has a very great cooldown, which is 3 minutes, and must be used wisely. And I will show you how to play it in the rotation just when I show you after in this video. In the last row, it is controversial what to take here. Talents. I usually take, in general, I only have ever taken Breath of Sindragosa. This talent, well, basically, when you open this talent, your runic bar should be approximately full, or has at least more than 30 runic power, because when you press this level, you will deal damage to the target in front of you and to the side targets for half of the damage. And this ability's duration is based on how much runic power you can rack up. So if you have 30, it drains 15 per 1 second. So you want to keep your runic power going up so that the ability could stay alive for at least 15 seconds to benefit from the full damage of the ability. This is considered one of the most powerful openers in the game, and you can rack up immense damage in it if done correctly. Now for the rotation, basically you will go with when you start with the boss fight, you will go with the Howling Blast, 2 Obliterates, a Remorseless Winter. Then you will open the Pillar of Frost, Breath of Sindragosa, Empower Rune Weapon. Empower Rune Weapon, well, this is another one of your cooldowns. It is best used when you are using Breath of Sindragosa. Time them together. This ability gives you 15% haste and generates 1 rune and 5 runic power every 5 seconds. So that way you will keep racking up runic power when your breath is up, which will help you keep it up. And after using Empower Rune Weapon, Breath of Sindragosa, you will just spam Obliterate and hit Howling Blast only when it procs. Try not using it if Obliterate is ready, because Obliterate itself generates more runic power, which you will need to keep your breath up. Side note, while you're doing this rotation, your Pillar of Frost will last for 15 seconds. Just wait for the last 3 seconds of Pillar of Frost to cast 1 Chains of Ice and to cast your Frostworm's Fury. That way your Chains of Ice would benefit from the extra percentage of strength that you gain during Pillar of Frost, and so will your Frostworm's Fury. And now to tell you how to do it, you start with Howling Blast, 2 Obliterates, a Remorseless Winter, Pillar of Frost, Breath of Sindragosa, Empower Rune Weapon, Obliterate, Obliterate, Disproc, Obliterate. You always should check your Pillar of Frost. 3 seconds, you spam Chains of Ice, you take breath, and that's it. That's basically the rotation. and check up the DPS. That is the ultimate opener for a Death Knight. That is one of the most intense opener. That's why it got nerfed in 8.1, but it is still very powerful. Basically, that is how your rotation is going to happen, and you are going to wait for your cooldowns, which are the Breath of Sindragosa and the Empower Rune weapon, to then appear. But remember this, you can use Pillar of Frost again. Once again you use it, you gain that extra DPS. That way the Breath of Sindragosa and the Empower Rune weapon will only have 30 seconds left while the Pillar of Frost is open. I advise to wait before using your Breath and Empower Rune weapon, to wait for your Pillar of Frost to be ready. That way to rack up the most damage you have. As for your defensive, as I mentioned, you have your anti-magic shell, which is good against casters. You have your Icebound Fortitude, 3-minute cooldown, reducing 30% of the damage you take, and that's about it. Thank you for watching. If you found this in any way helpful, please subscribe and leave a like. Thanks again. Good night, everyone.